Today is a new day, and I'm glad you guys are here with me, and I hope you are all doing very well. I am doing fantastic, and boy, do I have a show for you today. So it's going to be a little bit longer if I don't rush through it, but I have a show for you today. Giving you some new information that I didn't have before I got my show situated. Facebook has admitted to being complicit in political bias. Who knew? And YouTube is now reinstating and remonetizing everyone. So that is a win-win out the gate. But now that we have that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right into our show. Give me 1 second. Let me move these down because they're out of order. They are out of order, and we don't want to be out of order. We want to be in order. We want to be in order in every aspect of our life, especially with the Lord. So our first story right here is You're Fired. Does anybody remember when Trump had that show and he would, You're fired? Yeah, well, Trump is out here firing people. Now, the Supreme Court just cleared Trump. Wait, one moment. Hold on. All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you. I thought it was up. There we go. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bye. All right. Apparently my volume was low, and now you guys should be able to hear me. Everybody can hear me? Mic check. 1 2 1 2. We good? All right. So, like I was saying, you remember the show Trump had where he would just go, You're fired, The Apprentice? Well, now the Supreme Court is allowing him to be the apprentice once again. So the Supreme Court just cleared Trump to fire the FTC commissioner, and that's just not legal nitpicking. And it's really out here just shaking up Washington and how it works. Now, to give you some understanding, the president has a lot of authority within the confines of the executive branch. However, some believe that he should not have that type of control. And the president controls the executive branch, and they're trying to say he doesn't control all aspects of the executive branch. Now, in my opinion, and this is my opinion before I get to the opposing side of things, let's be real here. Anybody ever know that, like, or have a manager that wasn't in control? Like, generally, if you get the position of a manager, you're in control of that position, like those that are under you. So if I'm the manager of sales, I control everything within the confines of sales. If I'm the manager of logistics, I am in control of all logistics. So why would Trump not be in control
of all things within the purview of the executive branch. Very strange. Now, the left is screaming that this move guts agency independence because they think that all agencies should be independent of the branch that they're under. So any agency under the Congress or the legislative branch should be independent of their bosses, like the Speaker of the House or the Senate Majority Leader. Or the executive branch, if you're FBI, you should be independent in control of your own self. That's not how it works. So they point out that the Humphreys case of 1935, the Humphreys executor case of 1935, gave commissioners protection from being removed except with proven cause. They argue that if Trump can fire the FTC commissioner and at will without having to bring just cause, then we're handling the White House unchecked power. He is their boss. If they're out there doing things that they shouldn't, then he should be able to fire them. Why are we making rules and regulations that protect these people from being fired? This is not the union. This is not the union. So a real reality check for them overall is you're wrong. That's plain and simple. And you're going to remain wrong. You can't have shadow power if you want accountability. For years, Wall Street and big tech have had bureaucracies and bureaucrats go in to DC with lobbying and change how DC is operated with impunity. So if we want accountability, we have to put these agencies in check. So they're now beholden to the actual head of the branch, as they have been and always should be. Why is it that we're having Supreme Court cases and all these other cases? That is literally just people playing lawfare with our judicial branch. Precedence isn't sacred. Just because there's some case law doesn't mean it's the law. People can be wrong. So yes, Humphrey's executor has been a long-standing block, but blocks aren't, infallible. Like they can be moved. It is not a vest of protection that keeps these people in power. The lady did wrong or is not doing what the current president needs, so she's being removed. Point blank, period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So some thoughtful question is, do removal protections for the FTC commissioners conflict with the separation of powers? 2, if those protections are invalid, can courts still order reinstatements? Those are questions that you should be asking yourself. Those are real questions, not these feelings-based questions, these factless-based questions. You should be asking real questions. So if you hear the left screaming, tyranny, oh, it's tyranny, step back and watch the play. Because far too often, the conservatives and the right and the GOP and the Republicans and the MAGAs and the right-leaning all get manipulated and played from one side to the next because they're too zoomed in. What you stare at becomes your focus. So instead of staring at a small piece of the pie, back out and look at the whole pie. Then you will get a clear depiction of what is really going on. If you're my manager and I work under you, you're in control. Point blank, period. It is what it is. In lighter news, we have World Polar Plunge. This is a tidbit fascinating because our rivers in our country have been polluted for a very long time. Boy, those eco-knots have been really putting it to the government, haven't they? They've seen a lot of move happen on the side of, cleaning up the country, cleaning up the nature, and reducing the greenhouse gases and all those things. Those people haven't done squat. However, the Trump administration has. They have. So the rivers in Chicago have been cleaned up, enough so that they could actually do these river races, these polar plunges, and this is the first time in almost 100 years they have been clean enough to do so. And this is fascinating because we didn't see any of these things happening under any other administration, but we're seeing it happen now, to where these things are being cleaned up and cleaned out from pollution from these big tech companies and big pharmaceutical companies and these oil companies who have been polluting and putting their waste into these rivers because it's out of sight, out of mind. They're actually being cleaned up enough now around the entirety of the country, not just Chicago, to allow people to swim in them again. You know, actually get outside and do stuff instead of being stuck on their cell phones, tablets, and computers all day, every day. It's nice that people can actually do stuff. So the environmental crowd is celebrating this as a proof that the government regulation works. But the problem is, where was the EPA under any other administration? The Clean Water Act's been around for a hot minute. So why wasn't the water clean? Why was there pollution floating around for all these years? 100 years? 100 years. Now, I don't know if I have anybody that is that old in here, but 100 years is a long time in the grand scheme of things when humanity only lives about 75 years in the United States of America. So a reality check, overall, clean rivers are the result of people working, not perpetual regulation. Regulations are not as good as the bureaucrats and the government would have you to believe. Regulation actually puts a stranglehold on the small people while the big people just skate by paying fines. Yes, regulations help some, but the real heroes are the volunteers, the city planners, which is a surprise that they've actually cleaned this river up, given that they can't clean up their streets in Chicago. I said what I said. But that is a win for environment and environmental groups. Maybe they'll stop screaming global warming and continue to do real work like clean up parks, other rivers, and other bodies of water. Maybe start in Michigan because Lake Michigan looks like trash. I said what I said. If any Michiganders are out there, don't come for me. And if you do, I don't care. Our next story is the U.S. gold standard. Now, this story is a follow-up of a story I did earlier this year where the Trump administration wants to allow people to come in and pay their way in. And I'm not totally against that. It's actually a good thing. So they have this gold card, which is $1 million visa program, essentially letting folks buy their way into the country, like I stated. And there's also a platinum card, which is a little bit more hefty, $5 million. Now, this is important because if anybody pays to play, that means they have some investment in the matter. Now, that doesn't mean that evil people can't just come into our country and pay to play. They can, but this allows people that really want to come to this country and benefit this country and better this country to come in. Now, I don't believe these people should be able to come in and pay to play into our government. That's the downside I see happening. But I do believe that these people should not just come into this country scot-free, say a few words, take a couple of oaths, read a few pages, and recite a few lines and get in. Because if you've been around for any amount of time on this show, I have revealed to you that there have been people that have come here, joined our military to gain citizenship on a fast-track way, that started selling secrets back to China. Mostly it's China. So I'm not totally okay with anyone just being able to come over scot-free, but if you pay to play, you have more skin in the game. So the opposing side generally says that that American citizenship is something that shouldn't be given to the highest bidder, that we should just let everybody in because everybody deserves to be American, right? Well, they don't believe you should even have to go through the proper channels to become American. So everything they say and believe is moot. Absolutely, positively moot. Those people are miscreants when it comes to the Constitution and how America functions. We are a republic of the constitutional variety, not a democracy. Democracies don't work. Democracy leads to demagogism at the end of the day. But before you get to the state of demagogism, you fall into the lines of unruly crowds ruling everybody. So if you want slavery to stay, the majority gets it. So if you don't want evil things coming back into this country, you shouldn't keep perpetuating that we're a democracy. That includes Trump, because I've heard him several times say, America's a democracy. Trump, you're wrong. Anybody else that says that is wrong. Very wrong. Wealth should not be penalized in immigration. If you have money and you can pay to play, you should go through the immigration process, which this gold plan and platinum plan that Trump wants to implement is, and he has signed the EO to do so. But overall, it shouldn't be looked at as, oh, you paid to get here. Well, you didn't pay to get here, and you're trying to sell the country out to Palestine, Ukraine, and any other country that seems like they're falling on bad times. It's a shame that we have people running around waving Ukrainian flags and Palestinian flags, but can't cite the Pledge of Allegiance of their own country. But this program says if you're bringing serious capital investment, you're not a burden. And a lot of people that come into this country are burdens, where they get on the system and we pay out to them. We, the ones born here, pay out to them. So for illegal immigration alone, we spend roughly $154 billion a year. $154 billion a year just on illegal immigration. And most people that come here legally do pay a fee, anywhere from $10,000 to $120,000, depending on how long the process takes to stay here, to get here. And they're doing it the right way. So I am for this gold plan. I don't think it's a bad thing. So when you look deeper into the EO itself, it emphasizes that under the program, that people must and still consistently follow the process to become a citizen. They don't just get to pay, here's the money, and I'm in now. No, you have to get in and pay. And this isn't an open checkbook either. And forget vetting, because that's what the Democrats do. They say, oh, you can just come in, claim asylumship, claim that your country's abusing you, and you can just come right on in. And what did Kamala Harris say after Joe Biden said the gates were open? Do not come. Do not come. Yeah, Kamala, of course they shouldn't come, but you didn't have any conviction when you told them not to come. You didn't. So we already prioritize exceptional businesses and those that work in those businesses. This is just another way of making sure that people that want to be here and not anywhere else get in. So under the existing immigration law, 8 USC 1153 B1A, the government can't just grant visas for exceptional businesses or abilities or national interests. They have to actually go through the process and put forth the effort. The people that are coming here have to put forth the effort. So if they can pass the test, if they can get the things done that need to be done, and they can pay, they can play. That means that they have skin in the game, and they're not going to come here and try to blow us up or rape our women or kill our women or children. And I'm here for that. Anybody that's not here for that, I don't know. I don't know what to say for you. Maybe you like having family members taken by illegals. That's just me. Our next story, terrorist among us. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence just announced a push that the NCTC, which is the National Counterterrorism Center, is distributing an unclassified intelligence product to law enforcement that basically put them all on alert. all of them are being put on alert. This comes in the context of threats that have been made over the Biden era. So do you guys, I tried to find the video, but I couldn't find it. But do you guys remember the video of the terrorist that served 12 years in prison in Europe and was released? And he made his way to our southern border. And this guy that has dual citizenship from Mexico and America, he really is someone that shows great patriotism because he loves America, went on the border consistently so we could be ones that see the truth as opposed to what the Biden administration was saying. He was out there filming all of these droves of people coming in, black people, white people, Asian people, Hispanic people, because 64% of the people that came into our country were from Europe, or 66% from Europe, Africa, and China, not just, the southern border, the Hispanics, the South Americans. It was actually less South Americans than anything overall, but he was filming these people coming into our country. And the one particular guy says, "You don't know who I am now, but you will." Well, if you look that guy up, and I can't remember his name to save my life, but he had several counts of terrorism, several counts of selling weapons to known terrorist organizations, and yet they let him out. They let him out, which is baffling to me. So they have put this information out that during the Biden era, there were lots of threats made. And according to the release, a terrorist slipped in via the CBP, which is the Customs Border Patrol. And it wasn't just one terrorist. I find that funny that they said a terrorist slipped in. It was like 38 terrorists, known terrorists, slipped in. How do 38 known terrorists slip in and they slipped in? That's a question I've always wondered. I've always wondered that. And yes, I'm off script right now because I've always wondered, how did you know that they came in the first place and that they slipped in and you still haven't apprehended them? I understand that this is taking place under the Biden administration. They just let anybody in. And they probably have these people come in and say, "Hey, I'm a terrorist. I just want to come in and say hi." All right, buddy, come on in. We're accepting anybody. Just make sure you don't get caught doing something you shouldn't do. Yeah, that's the Biden administration. But I've always wondered that. And maybe you guys have wondered that as well. Personally, I think it's absolutely ludicrous. So this is a statement where this is a statement overall. We're not just a defense of retooling things. We're going on the offense to actually look out for these people. So they're putting out essentially an ABP. So all people be on alert that, hey, we need to do something about these people coming into our country. And we know that some of you are here. And then you have the whole admittance all throughout the Biden administration and even some at the earlier half of Trump's administration that they said they have terror cells here and they're activating these terror cells. Hell, in the first of the year, the new year, in what was it? In Louisiana, they had the guy that went in and shot up the New Year's celebration. Then shortly after, the Trump Tower Hotel explosion from the Cybertruck, which I think that was probably more left, but I digress. These people, the guy that went and did the things he did in New Orleans, he did so under the bannership of a terrorist organization. So we know they're here. So the smart left overall will argue this, and they'll say that counterterrorism should always be above politics. Releasing these products and showing the regular police about these people is a bad thing. And it's scaring people. You people are stupid. You would let terrorists sleep in your own homes and gang members sleep in your own homes. How I know that, the judge in New Mexico that got caught doing the same thing that Hannah Dugan, who's should be thrown under the jail for protecting criminals. He had Trinidad Agua members in his house and MS-13 members in his house. How do you have two opposing gangs in your house? By the way, Trump made both of those gangs terrorist organizations in the United States. So you have two groups of terrorists in your house, and you're protecting them from the bad man Trump. What? What are we doing? What are we doing? So yes, bravo to this organization, government organization, for putting out an APB that we're looking for these people. It's almost like I'm reliving my childhood, where you would see, what was that TV show called where the guy would walk out of the shadows into the light, and he talks America's Most Wanted, I believe. Yes, yes, put these people on the list and put this information out so we can actually get these people out of our country. It is not a benefit to have people that hate our country in our country. If you believe that, you need to go too. I wholeheartedly believe that. And it sounds un-American, but what's un-American is having criminals in your country that want to harm people in your country. Our next story, along the lines of terrorism, because I believe that majority of Muslims and majority of those that are of the Islamic faith are terrorists, because you can't live under that belief system and not be, but I digress. Free Palestine. What? Do we need another Islamic/Muslim country? That is the question I posed to you guys. That's what I wrote in my notes, at least. Do we need another Islamic or Muslim country? Well, the UK, Canada, and Australia have officially recognized the state of Palestine. The crazy thing about, not my prophet. I'm going to ignore that. So it's a major shift going on overall, guys, especially since these are longtime allies of Israel. Yes, the UK, Australia, and Canada are longtime allies of Israel. You're seeing a major shift take place here, where partners of Israel and the United States are turning to say we need to recognize, and we already have recognized, that Palestine should be known as a country. Palestine has never been recognized as a country, and this is why Israel has been able to do what they've done to them for as long as they have, and have done from them to Israel what they have done. Neither party is innocent. You can tell I'm not pro-Israel, the landmass, or Israel, the government, but I digress. Don't want to get on that monologue. But these people have shifted their alliances, and that is going to place major pressure on the United States. Why does that place major pressure on the United States? Well, with these other countries and other major countries recognizing Palestine as a country, what will eventually happen is they will gain a certain ability that they did not have before. And it would actually make them a sovereign nation. So all this stuff that's taking place in Gaza would have to be straightened out. All this warring back and forth would have to be straightened out. And if other countries, major countries, start to ally with Palestine, oof, America will have even more pressure to deal with. A pressure to tell Israel to back down. And the AIPC has been pretty heavy in the United States and controlling the United States. Yes, the imposter Jews have been controlling the United States. And we've seen Trump stand up against them, but we have also seen Trump toe the line. It is nice to see someone stand up against them, but AIPAC should have been put down a long time ago. I'm going to dig into something just a wee bit, because I don't want to overstay my welcome here, but I have to say this. We see in 1949 the establishment of the American Zionist, which is heavy in the cahoots with Israel. After the bombing of the hotel, David Hotel, we see this group created. And then we see this group come over to the United States and run heavy for a long time. And then we see your good old boy, Kennedy, not RFK, but JFK, say that, hey, we have this FARA program, which is a registry for foreign countries and or companies with the United States. You guys got to, register. And they were like, no, we don't. They were like, and Kennedy was like, yeah, you do. And then all of a sudden, Kennedy went poof. His head goes pop. So right then and there, looking back at this from the future to then, you see that they had control in America, the imposter juice. And now you see and understand better why America toes the line with these people. I think we should stand up against them. Trump started to, then he toed the line. I think he should continue. Don't be afraid. Because if you don't stand up against them, they're going to continue doing what they have been doing. And if you allow this country, state, to become a country, being Palestine, we're in trouble. We're going to be in heavy trouble. So the left, because I like to give both aspects, the left and globalists will say, this is overdue justice for Palestine. Free Palestine, free Palestine. We're going to put watermelons in our profile pictures and names to show we support Palestine. By the way, that's funny. That's really funny. But they're saying that overall that this is overdue, that Palestinians' dignity gives them legitimacy. All feelings, all emotions. Just because you have dignity doesn't mean you're legitimate. But this pressure is going to push America to one side or the other. Either America will stand firm against multiple countries, or America will stand with Palestine because of other countries. It's almost like these countries and Israel are bullying us, and we're just ping-ponging back and forth between the two. But the real rubber meets the road situation, symbolism without consequence is empty. Recognition is largely symbolic. It really is. It really is overall. But to have the United States recognize you changes things. And unless you're backed by a political, economic, and security force, i.e. military, major military, what are you? Palestine, you don't really have any of that. You have Hamas, which also was coincidentally created around the same time that JFK went poof, but I digress. You have Hamas, but they're a terrorist group, or have been deemed a terrorist group by multiple countries. So the way I see it, if Palestine wants to be recognized as a nation, get rid of Hamas. Then things will change. I wholeheartedly believe things will change, and people will feel more comfortable. Matter of fact, kick all Islamic faith and Muslims out of your politics, and you will see things change around the world. Maybe London can get rid of their Muslim governor and mayor. It's like 300 positions have been taken in political power over in the UK. They really need to ring that in. Otherwise, they're going to go up in smoke. But I digress. I wholeheartedly believe that this is going to make things really difficult if this keeps getting perpetuated. Maybe it'll gain traction, maybe it won't. But you're going to see a lot of things centered around Gaza and the West Bank because of this. You can't ignore terrorist influence, but you also can't ignore the outcry of these people. So it's almost like the liberals are gaining steam while the imposter Jews are gaining steam. America just should put both out to pasture and continue to do what she does. That way America can remain America and not be 50 states and one Israel. You should look that up. You really should look that up. That statement, I won't go into in depth with that, but you should look that up. That will blow your mind. And Google might even correct you and say something different. But closing on this particular segment, will those recognizing the state of Palestine back their recognition? Will Canada, the UK, Australia, and several others actually put forth money to make sure they get their legitimacy? Will they help give them security? Will they demand that Palestinian governance reforms become rule of law and not terror? These are things that you have to ask. Will Israel respond with harsher measures? Will they push back? Will they drop more bombs? And will the U.S. shift their stance or digging deep. Both have major consequences. If this becomes a thing, it becomes a problem. Either which way. Honestly, I'm on the track of freeing America, not Palestine, free America from all of the strings we have attached to her. America's had strings attached to her since 1948, at least. So if we free America, we have no more problems. Israel's a big boy country. They can stand on their own. And it's not any of our business to placate in the Middle East. You had Bush Sr. started with the war in the Middle East, and then you had Bush Jr. come in and finish daddy's work. Why do we keep playing in the sandbox? Free America, not Palestine. It's not any of our business. In other terrorist news, Antifa. On September 22nd, 2025, President Donald J. Trump signed an EO, which needs to become law. All of these things declaring groups as terrorist group needs to become law, not EOs. So some numbskull can't come behind them and retract, rescind, or remove the EO. But he signed an EO deeming and declaring that Antifa is a domestic terror organization. How is it that the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers became a group of terrorists, but Antifa, who blocked off streets and created autonomous zones and Summer of Love all over the United States, $11 billion with Black Lives Matter, not a terrorist organization. Black Lives Matter should be deemed also as a terrorist organization, but I don't think Trump will go there because he's a racist. He's a white supremacist. That would be the response. They're already saying it. So, yeah, it would be the response. So, Antifa is a known violent left-wing group. They are. Actually, no, I retract that. Let's back up. Let's rewind. They are a violent socialist, violent Marxist group, communist group. These people are not left-wing. These people are so far left, they're gone. These people believe that their ideologies are the only ideologies, and if you don't abide by their ideologies, well, goodbye. Good day. It is what it is. Now your liberals and your leftists are cheering or in protest saying, hey, they're not terrorists. They're an organization of peace, and they want to fix things in America. They want to decentralize America. Down with capitalism. First off, capitalism works, but capitalism doesn't work when it's ran by lobbyists and bureaucrats. It doesn't. I'm all for free market, but I'm not all for free market the socialist way. I'm not all for free market the communist way. I'm not all for it the Marxist way, because that leads to total government control. So bra frickin' O to Trump for making this group a terrorist group. They should have been, from the get-go, a terrorist group. The moment they started firebombing police officer precincts and blocking streets from ambulance getting to people that are being killed, they should have been deemed a domestic terrorist group. I don't know why Trump didn't do this earlier, so I kind of want to criticize him on that. It's something he should have did a long time ago. It really should have been something he did a long time ago, even in his first term. Granted, it probably would have been removed because of Biden, but it still would have been done. Bravo. That's all I'm going to say on that. Bravo. Any group that is anti-American or anti the things that make America America, goodbye. Have a good one. I'm not with it. So, media restrictions. The Pentagon is tightening the screws. Finally, they're tightening the screws on the moving. What they're ultimately doing is they're moving a restrict press access to credentials, and they're demanding that non-disclosure agreements be signed, as they should. You guys remember back in the day how the press would release information that they got in behind closed doors, and the Americans didn't say anything about it, and then how the press secretary would get up on the stage and today we've began processes to go bomb XYZ. We would tell all of our business and give people time to get away. That's a problem. That's a problem. So what's being done by the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, he's saying, nah, we ain't doing that no more. We're tightening things up. The Pentagon steps up their media restrictions for access to credentials. They're not just letting anybody and everybody sit in on anything, and they're also making sure that when they sit in on things that they don't say certain things when they get out. This isn't just a bureaucratic tweak, it's a warning. It's a warning that fewer eyes on the military is going to give more room for things to be done the right way. So let's dive into it a little bit more. I'm going to skip out on telling you what the left thinks because they're stupid when it comes to this. They just want to get rid of the industrial military as it stands anyway. So forget them. National security is real, but security becomes a blanket to hide failures. And the media themselves thinks or champions themselves as people that points out the failures. But sometimes the media pointing out the failures actually causes more problems because you're talking about things that you shouldn't be talking about. You're giving up plans of things that are going to happen before they happen. You know why Barack Obama bombed so many? He was the bomber in chief for the longest time. You know why he did all of that bombing? Because he kept warning his buddies ahead of time so they could get out of there. Why would you warn people you're going to take out? Ultimately, because of the removal of the Smith-Muntz Act and other policies and procedures being put in place, the press is one of few groups that are a couple of tinks short of being unchecked power. And they're being used, and we watched for 4 years at least, them being used as political pawns to say certain things, to twist the minds of the people. When the military or any government agency pushes NDAs and limits access, some will say we lose real oversight. But when it comes to the military, I don't think there needs to be all this transparency. Yes, we should have access at the request of a FOIA, and they should give it willingly, but I don't think we should just give willy-nilly information to the press because they are about being first, not about being right. So they will sensationalize certain things to make it seem like this is beautiful, this is amazing, or this is bad, this is horrible, to get clicks, likes, views, and ratings. That's how they make their money. But the real problem is sometimes they say too much. And sometimes they don't say the right things. And they cause more harm than good. They stir up drama. Basically like the Days of Our Lives or General Hospital. And we're not a soap opera. We're a country full of millions of people that need to know the truth. So I don't see this as being totally bad, but I think there needs to be other stipulations put in place that will allow us to FOIA request as citizens of the United States of America so we know. Basically because it's our taxpayer money, right? No taxation without representation, correct? Overall, I think it's a good thing. Do I see some flaws in it? Yes. If it's done right, bravo. If it's not done right, remove it. That's my personal opinion on the matter. In other news, Trump, the peacemaker. At least that's what I named it. Overall, Trump wants to create this little assembly. And he wants to do so in New York as a summit. And during the UN General Assembly, a select group of Arab and Muslim leaders will be there. At least that's what he wants to do. All the talk of the Gaza war and post-war grievances and who gets paid and who gets this and who gets that. Remedy, redress for grievances, or what some would call reparations, which is the right word when it's involving countries, is being taken place or supposed to take place. So according to Axios, Trump plans a summit in New York with Arab leaders, and the whole significance of this is for diplomacy. And he wants to do so in a manner that is really beefed up, like Johnny Bravo or steroids. But this is really risky overall because we don't know how these leaders are going to respond. We don't. And you can say what you want to say. When dealing with these people from these nations, we know that these people have been in war for ages. They like to fight. It's risky because if you say one wrong thing, and we know Trump has been known to say the wrong thing here and there, if you say the wrong thing to these people, it's like a powder keg that is ready to explode at a drop of a hat. So I'm looking at this from the reality standpoint. I'm not looking at this from a political standpoint or a let's make a deal standpoint. I'm looking at this for reality because we know that these people, once set off, aren't just going to fight there. They're going to come to try to fight here as well, especially if they believe that America's at fault. It's smart being partners and bringing these people to the table, but you don't solve the Middle East crisis unilaterally by inviting key regional players to the table. So they're bringing Saudi Arabia, or planning to bring Saudi Arabia, the UAE, which is the United Arab Emirates, for those that don't know what that means, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, Qatar, and a few other nations. Trump is trying to build a coalition between these people and have them share the burden of their area. And I'm here for that. I'm here for that. President Trump wants to also present U.S. principles for ending the Gaza war. That's where he's going to have to toe the line and walk it tightrope style very, very carefully. Because one wrong word or you twitch your eye the wrong way, and these people are going to lose their minds. And then they're going to fly from the U.S. back to their countries and plan war. He being President Trump, needs Arabs backing and essentially pressure Israel and Hamas to just stop. And honestly, we could take this little summit he's wanting to put together and use it to free America from the hold of Israel and end this whole, or push this whole thing about Palestine becoming a nation. Because if you can get all these other Middle Eastern nations to get together on this and give Palestine their countryship, that doesn't involve us. Or if you can get Israel to stop doing stupid stuff, use these people to do this, use these people to fight these people, then that washes our hands of and absolves us of the problems. Overall, any durable solution will require Arab states' help. You're not going to be able to do this without them. They are the predominant force there. And if you don't get them to sit at the table and accept these terms, then it's not going to work out. Trump has to be very, 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 very careful when it comes to this. Otherwise, it could become a real problem. So this oversight, it will strengthen U.S. leverage if it goes through the right way. And if it doesn't, we might end up in another GWOT, which is a war on terror. But in this case, it's going to be multiple nations versus just a few that we had to fight for 20 years. The timing of this is dangerous, but it's one of those situations where great risk, great reward. It's scary. We're in scary times. We have tumultuous times already on the homeland, and Trump is trying to do all the stuff he can to broker peace outside of the country while trying to get people to stop fighting in the country. But inside the country, in my opinion, probably will be harder than trying to do it outside the country because we have a lot of brainwashed people on the right and the left in the United States. And they both believe that they're right when neither one of them are right. majority of them can't even read. And y'all know how I feel about being able to read, especially the Constitution. Yeah. So I'm interested in to see how this works out, how this plays out, how the U.S. overall, because it's not just Trump, plays this game. It's a risk. But if it works out, it could bring peace for a little while anyway. Because, you know, these people, again, if you look at them the wrong, did you look at my wife in her burqa? Did you look into her eyes? And they're fighting again. The sandbox is a very tumultuous, dangerous place overall. But in more centralized U.S. news, the USDA is killing off their annual food insecurity survey. So the food insecurity survey, is something that is used to notate how many households don't have food. And there's going to be no more of that. And I don't know how I personally feel about that. I think less is good sometimes, but in this case, I don't know if it is a good thing, personally. And that's not a small cut overall. That's erasing the lens we've used for 30 plus years to see how hunger is gauged in the United States overall. So, you know, the left is going to be like, we advocate and warn you that removing this survey will make us blind to the people in America that are starving. Oh, dye my hair blue. But what's crazy is you don't actually see these people doing the work to help these people. You just see them advocating for them, but you don't see them really helping these people. And they further say and state that SNAP benefits are going to be affected. As they should. A lot of people on SNAP don't deserve SNAP, don't need SNAP. In my step into adulthood, I lived in an income-based house, personally. And the neighbor across the way from me was also in an income-based house. They were paying $300 a month for that place. I was paying $675 a month because I was at a higher bracket or whatever. But this woman's husband made $180,000 a year being a trucker. I only made $1,600 a month. Substantially less than this man, but I was paying more because her husband didn't live with her. There's a lot of people on these benefits that are raping the system because they know how to work the system. They're manipulating it to benefit them. So I think this overall could be a good thing, but just like the changing of how we let the media in on military news, it has to be done right. It has to be done right because I see this also affecting people that actually do need it. And we should push for people that do need it being needful for a short time, but building them up so they can get off of it. It's always the few bad that ruin it for the people that actually need things, correct? But I see this as a good and bad thing. I don't actually know if I could really give a true opinion on this overall. But the survey has real utility for local actors, the community groups, food banks, nonprofits, U.S. They all use these to see how they want to, send these things out, especially like soup kitchens. A lot of soup kitchens get a lot of donations, and that they use these surveys overall to show where these donations need to go most. So that I see getting rid of this would be a bad thing. But at the same time, on the flip side, the logical side of me, why are the states not doing this? This is something that can be at the state level. I don't think that the federal government truly needs to be able to do this. And the federal government isn't really giving a lot of funds for this in the first place. So therefore, why? So honestly, maybe I can give an opinion. I had an epiphany in this very moment that the states can do this. The simple fact that the federal government needs to be in everything is the problem in the first place in the United States. The federal government doesn't need to be involved in everything. We aren't children. We don't need babysitters, correct? The few of you out here watching, you're all adults, correct? So I don't see this being really risky unless the federal government is funding these things, which majority of these things are not funded. The states have SNAP. The federal government has their own SNAP, and they give to the states that need, but at the same time, the federal government can figure that out by the states sending up what they need, right? And then having someone from the federal government come down and audit to make sure the states aren't lying. So it's called accountability. Federal government really shouldn't be involved in state affairs in the first place unless the state is doing something unconstitutional. I said what I said. Now to where I really wanted to get for the show. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. This is where I wanted to get, right here. Right here. Acetaminophen. Or how do you say it? Acetaminophen? Whatever. Even when I was a paramedic, I butchered this word. Acetaminophen. I think that's how you say it. You can laugh at me. It's okay. I don't mind. This is a bombshell. So before, I'm going to go completely off script on this. Completely off script. I don't need a script for this particular segment. I don't, because I have most of it memorized. And I have some videos I want to show with this. So please sit back, because I have this whole segment, this whole segment right here is going to be all opinion, but opinion based on facts. So Trump didn't say don't take Tylenol if you're pregnant. He didn't. No, he didn't. He did not. Trump didn't say that Tylenol causes autism. No. People have a listening and comprehension issue. And proof that they have a listening and comprehension issue is Tylenol themselves. I think I have it. Wait a minute. No. I got to get this. Bear with me, please. I need to have this because I thought I had it. Wait a minute. Do I have it? Hold on. Let me check my notes. I believe I have it. This is so important. This is what happens when you get overly excited about something. You miss things. And excited I am when it comes to this. Oh, I do have it. Let me just drop this here and get it situated here and fit the screen here. Let's slide to the right one time. Can you guys read that for me? We actually don't recommend using any, not some, not a few, but any of our products while pregnant. Thank you for taking the time to voice your concerns. This was 3/7/17. We're in 2025, correct? 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. That's 8 years ago. I did that for Barney style for those that don't know how to count. We got to use our fingers back in the day. So Tylenol said that they don't recommend using any of their products while pregnant. The problem is people hate Trump so much that they will do. Can someone type it in the comments? I'm trying not to get demonetized here. I'm not monetized yet, but I'm off script, so I'm going to just let my mouth do what my mouth does. But it starts with the R, ends with the ed. Screw it, I'm saying it. People are retarded. And I'm not saying that lightly. I mean, in the colloquially understood sense of the word, not the medical sense of the word. People are R-E-T-A-R. Come on. D-E-D, retarded. Dead. Yes, they are. Why? Because Trump never said not to take it while pregnant. He said be cautious. RFK never said don't take it. He said be cautious. Matter of fact, I have a list here. I have a list. Actually, I'm going to hold on to that list. Give me a second. I'm all over the place. I'm so excited for this. Let's watch these videos. This is Tylenol Queen number 1. By the way, all of these queens remove their videos, but the internet never forgets. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Queen number 1. This was the first queen that started it. That is Fairy Quad Mother. She likes to work out has an amazing body, and because she works out so much, she doesn't look very pregnant, but she is. She is. Bravo for working out while pregnant, because that means your delivery is going to be easy. But taking Tylenol because you don't like Trump and thinking that Tylenol causes autism when they didn't say that. They said that it can exacerbate the problem through research, but we're going to get to that research. We're going to get to that research. Let's look at queen number 2. Oh, my bad. Right here, queen number 2.
About to take Tylenol for my headache while pregnant because I don't take my medical advice from a man who doesn't have a degree in science, healthcare, or medicine, and who had a parasitic brain infection and was addicted to heroin for 14 years. Yeah, I'll trust my doctors who have their degree.
Remember that. She'll trust her doctors that have their degree. She'll trust their doctors that have their degree, not some man that had a parasitic brain worm and all this other stuff. Let's look at queen number 3. I think there's 3. Yep. 3. Yeah. All of these people have deleted their videos since. But again, the internet never forgets. Now, this next one, I need you guys to pay very close attention. So if you're on the conspiracy side of things, your eyes notice things that aren't really there at first. But when you really dial in and rewatch, sometimes if you're not of the conspiracy mind, you catch it. I wonder if you guys will catch what she does in this video. This is Tylenol queen number 4. Hosting a whole Tylenol commercial. All right, we're gonna run that back one more time for the one time for those that did not catch it, and I'm gonna see if you caught it. If you didn't, I'm gonna tell you. Let's watch it again. Okay, you didn't catch it. I caught it. That wasn't Tylenol. So I have so much to say about this, but I'm gonna reel it in for time's sake. I'm gonna reel it in. That wasn't Tylenol. So you're faking this for clicks, likes, and views, because you know that it does actually potentially cause an exacerbation of autism. So if the child has autism, you're going to exacerbate the problem by taking it. She didn't even take Tylenol. That wasn't Tylenol. And if you looked at the bottle carefully enough, you would have seen, I caught it the very first time I saw this video. You would have saw that that was not a Tylenol bottle. Do I have mine in here? No, I don't have my Tylenol bottle in here. Tylenol doesn't have blue emblems or logos on their bottle. That was not a Tylenol bottle. And before you say it's an Equate bottle, no, it isn't. I won't tell you what it is, but notice she had that bottle turned away from the screen, but the 2 Tylenol bottles for the Tylenol commercial were facing the screen so everybody could see. So she's playing her own people for clicks, likes, and views because she knows better. That's the worst kind of miscreant. That's a creature of the night, as I call them. A disgusting one at that. By the way, she has one of those, I learned right before I put this up, she has one of them only fans. So she's doubly disgusting. I said what I said. Now this Tylenol queen is the one I wanted to save for last. So you remember how the second Tylenol queen said that she only trusts her doctors, not some man with a brain worm? Well,
28 weeks pregnant. You know what I'm gonna take? Some Tylenol, acetaminophen. It's gonna work like a charm, and my baby won't have autism.
that's a doctor. She's a fertility doctor. She's a fertility doctor. Do these people... I need Trump to get on the stage and say the air is bad. I need this to happen. I need Trump to get on the stage and say air is bad. Please. Let natural selection and survival of the fittest take place, please. Because these people are doing this in spite of Trump. And remember that research I said I had? Let me go ahead and pull that up. Boom. Okay. Many research studies on Tylenol, acetaminophen, shut up, I know I butchered the word, and pregnancy have been involved in large consortiums of researchers and institutions across the globe, not just the United States. The list below highlights a selection of universities and colleges of often through their affiliated medical and or public health schools that have participated in major studies or systemic reviews of the topic. You know, if it's not EDU, it's not good enough. It's not .gov enough. It's not good enough. These are all EDUs. Columbia University, okay? Researchers from the Mailman School of Public Health have been involved in studies linking acetaminophen use during pregnancy to developmental outcomes in children. Mind you, Tylenol has had tons of lawsuits for their medicine, causing a swath of problems in other areas, not just pregnancies, but a swath of issues in other areas they've been sued for. Hold on, Harvard. Oh, I'm from Harvard. Harvard, the T.H. Chan School of Public Health was involved in a 2025 review of existing literature supporting evidence of an association between prenatal acetaminophen use and increased risk of neurodevelopmental disorders, NDDs, including autism and ADHD. Wait a minute, that's not good enough. Those Columbia University and Harvard University not good enough. Let's look at Johns Hopkins, a 2019 study by researchers at the Bloomberg School of Public Health found that higher levels of acetaminophen in umbilical cord blood were associated with greater risk to ADD and autism later in childhood, meaning that these children start out normal and then boom, all of a sudden it hits. Have you ever seen a child that is being detoxed or has drugs in their systems because their parent is a drug user? I have as a paramedic. I have as a nurse. It's not pretty. It's disgusting. And those children later in life have issues from that. Even if you catch it early enough during birth and detox them, it's horrible to watch those babies shake. Even if you catch it, they still have issues later in life. They seem normal after they detox, but they have issues later in life. But I digress. Let's just go through the rest of these. Mount Sinai School of Medicine, University of California, UCLA, Los Angeles, University of California at San Diego, University of Illinois, Champaign, University of Oslo in Norway, which is a very prestigious medical school, University of Washington, and Yale, another Ivy League university. All have done studies on this. Every single last one of them have done studies on this. And what did they do? Ignored it. And then you got doctors doing this.
28 weeks pregnant. You know what I'm gonna take? Some Tylenol, acetaminophen. It's gonna work like a charm, and my baby won't have autism.
You're disgusting. I got some words I want to say, but I'm gonna digress on those words because most of them are racial slurs. I'm gonna hold back. You're disgusting, and you probably like the other queen. Let's watch the other queen do it. The only queen. You probably didn't take Tylenol either because you know better. You're a doctor. You know better. So you're out here placating and lying and misleading people to do something, you're a fertility doctor, bro. That's disgusting. I'm going to get off of this before I lose my cool. Let's go to the next one. This one right here. Uh-oh. A big move coming out of the FDA. They've kicked off this process to approve, now I'm going to butcher this name also, leucovorin or leucovorin calcium tablets for patients with cerebral folate deficiency, CFD, a rare neurological condition linked to autistic features. So they're creating the kickoff to push this medication to help with autism. The FDA takes actions to make a treatment available for autism symptoms. And if you know anyone with autism, you know what these are, whether they're severe autistic or not severe. This is a huge step, especially after the White House announced that Tylenol causes problems. And then you see a bunch of dummies online taking Tylenol. Now, the critics are out here up in arms. Many of the scientists are saying autism advocates will push back. This is a premature, limited data study. We need 45 million studies that are peer-reviewed by the same people. Well, you had 10 of the most prestigious universities in the world doing peer review on how Tylenol can exacerbate and is linked to exacerbating ADD and ADHD and autism. But no, you didn't listen to them, but you're gonna speak out about this new medication, which is not really new, but you're gonna speak out about this medication, right? You're gonna be up in arms about this. Make up your mind. Do you want to be stupid or do you want to be stupid? Because there is no in between with you people. You're just straight stupid. You're just straight stupid. This is something that could potentially help people lead to a more normal lifestyle. And yet you want to fight it. You want to fight it. Overall, what's promising is that the FDA explicitly reviewed literature from 2009 to 2024 in this case, and they're saying that this medication's actually potentially going to be a big help in this. The move is framed from, the move is not framed from a cure standpoint, because they're not saying it cures it, but it is something that could potentially lead to lessening the effects of it. Why would you not want to do that? Why would you not want to do that? So bravo, because a lot of these things would never have taken place if you didn't have some brainworm meth addict speaking about it. It wouldn't have happened. Do you know, and I said this in a segment a while back, that the first time in 80 years the United States is able to send food and water to the UK and Europe? Do you know that they were banned from sending, the United States was banned from sending any food or water to other nations? Now, when we think of not being able to drink the water, we think of the United States saying, don't drink the water in Mexico. I think it was 100 plus nations, 121 plus nations wouldn't take food or water from the United States. Why? Because they knew it was poison. But since the brain worm and meth user is in office under the Trump administration, the first time in 80 years, these nations are taking our food and water again. Why? Because we're removing the red dye, the yellow dye, the orange dye, the things that cause migraine and issues for pregnant women. We're removing those things. We're also removing other poisons. Just because you look on the back of the paper and at the FDA fact sheet, let me grab this. Just because you look at the back of the page on here saying that there's certain ingredients doesn't mean they have to list all ingredients, because if they're under a certain amount, the FDA says you don't have to put it on the fact sheet. How is it that, little personal, but how is it that I'm allergic to American chocolate, but I'm not allergic to chocolate made from anywhere else? I've had chocolate from Germany, doesn't bother me. I've had chocolate from Israel, doesn't bother me. I've had chocolate from Sweden, doesn't bother me. But if I eat any chocolate made in America, I can go into anaphylactic shock, tongue swells, throat swells, hives all over my face, sweating, itching, hospital visit potentially. But I can eat chocolate from other countries. Just like people that leave the nation of the United States to other nations around the world that are, I have gluten intolerance. No, you don't have a wheat intolerance. They're putting crap in the seeds, and when you eat the wheat, it causes problems because people that are gluten intolerant that can't eat wheat go to other nations like Italy, France, to name a couple, and they're perfectly fine. They're perfectly fine. So if we can clean up our medications and clean up our food to make America healthy again, MAHA for short, as RFK push, why can't we do all of that and push for being healthier? Why do we always have to have a right and a left when it comes to this? Could it be because the Democrats and the Republicans are making money? Yes, both sides. Because if you recall, Big Pharma spends $16 billion a year lobbying to Congress. That's a lot of money. It's not as much as AIPAC does, but you get me. Guys, I appreciate you so much. I thank you for sitting with me. I know I held a little bit longer today than I normally do, but this was an exciting show for me. So our Bible verse comes from Lamentations. Is it of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed? Because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Make sure you're not one of the ones missing the forest for the trees. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.